everyone, this is Strawberry Podfic. We are reading Hysterical again, as you can tell by the thumbnail. This is Chapter 15, Please Let This Be a Normal Field Trip, Part 6. I thought I was supposed to be on... Part 6, Fight the Buff Bird. Summary. What a mad banquet of darkness this is. And then the author included a trigger warning, and the trigger warning is just a bit graphic. Probably is gonna get a bit graphic. If that is going to be triggering for you, please leave and do something not triggering. Take care of yourselves, please. Okay, I'm starting now. For real this time. Chapter 15, Please Let This Be a Normal Field Trip. Part 6, Fight the Buff Bird. Prepare to meet your demise, strange creature, yelled the All Might as he struggled against the Nomu. The Nomu, lacking the necessary conversational skills to respond, said nothing. Shigaraki, on the other hand, was yelling quite vehemently, "Stop toying with him, you stupid bird, and kill him!" It was at some point during this half-hearted struggle between All Might and the Nomu that Midoriya revived. He then proceeded to do the sensible thing and sneak up behind Shigaraki, and, giving up the element of surprise, whispered, "How do you expect to kill All Might when you couldn't even kill me properly?" Shigaraki screeched. All Might tried his best to turn his attention to Midoriya as the Nomu attempted to murder him. "Glad to see you're back, young Midoriya." "Yep, you need any help with this?" He gestured to the Nomu. "Situation? I appreciate the offer, although All Might was cut off as Shigaraki finally stopped gaping and began to talk. "You're alive? But I killed you!" Midoriya stuck his tongue out. "I guess you just didn't do a good job of it." "Think I have it under control," All Might continued. "Although I do suppose this could be a good teaching moment. I am trying to be on the lookout for those, as I am a teacher right now." "Nice! Does that mean I can beat up the thing myself?" "It's called a Nomu, you twat," said Shigaraki. He seemed to have decided to ignore Midoriya's immortality for the time being. You would like to fight? You would like to try fighting the incredibly overpowered, seemingly genetically modified, multi-quirked, near-immortal amalgamation of a Birdman by yourself?" "Yup." All Might threw the Nomu off him and shrugged. "Sure, why not? I can't see an issue with that." The issue, it seemed, was that Midoriya, as stupidly overpowered as he was just a child, and was also not very good at fighting the Nomu. It was not for a lack of trying, though. Midoriya pulled back his fist as he ran at the Nomu and prepared to deliver the strongest punch his body was physically capable of. Ultimate bone-shattering punch! The hit did its best to live up to its name, and completely demolished Midoriya's arm. It also left a gaping hole in the Nomu's stomach, or where the stomach would be if it had one. I, for one, am not totally convinced it did. The Nomu, who, much like Midoriya, did not feel pain, or at the very least did not register pain in any real sense, simply looked down at its unfortunate lack of a stomach area before activating regeneration. Strands of muscle threaded and weaved through the hole as the gap grew smaller and smaller until the pink flesh was finally covered with a new layer of dark skin. "That is simultaneously the coolest and grossest thing I've seen all day," Midoriya said in awe. "Nomu!" Shigaraki said. "Kill him and then kill All Might." All Might, Midoriya, All Might, and Kurogiri all corrected in unison. "Shut up!" The Nomu then lumbered towards Midoriya, who was becoming increasingly aware that he only had one more working arm and that his last attack had been entirely useless. Can't we talk about this?" Unfortunately for Midoriya, the Nomu was incapable of human speech patterns and was not inclined to talk. Rather, it took a hold of Midoriya by the good arm, immediately snapping it in multiple areas, and hoisted him into the air. "Hey!" he squeaked. The Nomu then proceeded to swing Midoriya around in a mockery of all carnival rides everywhere. "This is very uncomfortable!" Midoriya screamed. The Nomu then slammed Midoriya's face down into the pavement, much like how it had with Aizawa, except this time there was even more force behind the action. Midoriya did not much enjoy participating in the Nomu's testing of gravity, but there was very little he could do in his current situation. As it was, he had exactly 0 working arms, and he was fairly certain he had swallowed one of his teeth while the Nomu introduced his head to the ground. while the Nomu introduced his head to the very hard and very unyielding ground. It was times like these that Midoriya just wanted to die, and not in the exasperated done with life, let me sink slowly into the non-existence sort of way. He wanted it to be in the very literal, pretty sure there's a rib puncturing my lung sort of way. It seemed Shigaraki was of the same mind when it came to Midoriya's demise. Ha! Try to survive that, you respawning, cheating fairy in a bottle motherfucker! Finish him off, Nomu! The Nomu granted both Midoriya and Shigaraki's wishes by stepping rather anticlimactically on Midoriya's skull. His head, not meant to sustain the weight of a very, very large bird thing. I will not speculate about the Nomu's weight for fear of appearing rude. Simply collapsed under the pressure and cracked open like some sort of meaty egg, spilling out some bits of very essential organs. I apologize for such a gory description, but I'm afraid it was necessary to convey my point that Midoriya was very, very dead. Damn, these villains are weak, Bakugo said as he exploded yet another person of questionable moral integrity. I'm still worried about Midoriya, said Kirishima. Even if most of them are weak, there's still a lot of them for him to take on. Bakugo rolled his eyes. He'll be fine. The worst that could happen is he could... Bakugo cut off as he realized that the worst-case scenario would be for Midoriya to die, thus exposing his immortality to those he had hoped most to keep it hidden from. This was also the most likely scenario if Bakugo was properly gauging Midoriya's ability to stay alive. Okay, so maybe we should go check on him. At that moment, a villain with a minor camouflage quirk attempted to catch Bakugo off guard. This strategy did not work in the slightest, as Bakugo was quite good at anticipating surprise attacks. A skill courtesy of Midoriya's tendency to try to catch him off guard just for fun. Bakugo launched an explosion at the villain without even looking at him. That fucking adrenaline junkie better not have gotten himself killed. Kirishima watched in obvious awe. So manly. Bakugo wasn't entirely sure how to respond to that. Whatever, let's go make sure Midoriya's not making trouble. Oi! Bakugo yelled. Where the fuck is Midoriya? All Might was, at that moment, trying to overpower the Nomu. He did manage to use his head to gesture to Midoriya's body. Bakugo and Kirishima looked at the bloody stain on the ground that used to be Midoriya in annoyance and fear, respectively. I'd leave him alone for 15 minutes, Bakugo muttered. Is he dead? Bakugo looked at Kirishima. Damn it! That idiot's gonna pay for making me explain his stupid quirk for him again. He took a deep breath. I don't got time to give you the whole story, so just shut up and listen. Izuku's quirk is hysterical strength. He basically has super strength, and he's constantly high because his body keeps pumping him full of adrenaline, hence why he doesn't feel pain. But since he's always breaking his fucking body, he can also heal himself, but only after he dies. What? So he's basically immortal because this bitch of an author decided to make him OP as fuck for some fucking reason. What? Kirishima repeated. Keep up. In a few minutes, he'll pop back to life in an explosion of glitter and say something stupid like, I'm back! Bakugo waved his hands mockingly. Anyway, I'm going to blow up that stupid bird. He ran off towards the All Might. What? And that's the end of this chapter. And some funnies in the notes from the author. Bakugo, to the now pile of mush that is his best friend. Stop dying already, it's getting annoying! And we're going on to part 6 of, numbers, man. Part 7 of chapter 15. Part 7, I swear this arc is almost over. Summary, it's time to end this. Meanwhile, Todoroki had taken out the goons with ease. This was because all of the goons were stupid enough to go along with Shigaraki's crackpot plan, which meant that they were all dumber than a middle schooler. Todoroki was actually as smart as a high schooler, being as it was that he was in fact a high schooler, and so he did not find it all that difficult to defeat the thugs. It helped that he had a finely tuned quirk, which he had practiced with for the past decade, but really he probably could have won without it. Regardless, Todoroki was free to go and help the rest of his class. He was going to try to help All Might, but as he approached, he saw the Nomu beating a child's skull into the pavement and thought better of it. He was fairly certain the child was Midoriya, but with the distance he couldn't be sure. He weighed the pros and cons of intervening before deciding he quite liked his brains in his head, and turned around to find something else to help with. Todoroki! It seemed that it would be easier and more beneficial to his skull to help out Asui, who seemed to be dragging their teacher across the ground. Help me drag him back to 13, won't you? I'm pretty sure he's suffering a mental breakdown. Todoroki shrugged and grabbed Aizawa's legs. "Thank you for your assistance, young Bakugo," All Might said, as Bakugo landed an explosive punch to the back of the Nomu. "Shut up!" he snapped. "How the hell did you let Izuku die?" All Might coughed awkwardly. Or perhaps he was coughing because the Nomu had just slugged him in the gut. It was probably one of those two. Well, I didn't exactly let him. He just wanted to fight this thing, and I figured it would be a good learning. You let him fight this monster alone? Yes? Bakugo facepalmed. Izuku has no sense of self-preservation. You should know by now that he relies on the common sense of those around him to prevent him from dying an unreasonable amount each day. Now, I would personally argue that not even a single death a day could be considered a reasonable amount. But in Midoriya's case, the unreasonable amount was nearer to 6 times, a number he still managed to surpass quite often. "Oh," said All Might. Bakugo rolled his eyes. "Whatever. It's not like he's going to prove his immortality in front of the very people who should never be allowed to know about it," he said sarcastically. Wait, he didn't want the villains not knowing that he couldn't not live? As he spoke, All Might tried to punch the Nomu's exposed brain, which was an obvious red herring when you consider that the Nomu clearly did not use it. "No, you idiot! He didn't want the villains to not know that they couldn't kill him and not have him die for an extended period of time." "I'm confused." This was a problem, as All Might was currently in the middle of a battle. It was an understandable problem, as I'm sure that all of you, like myself, are also confused. But unlike All Might, you are not engaging in life-threatening activities as you read this. If you are, then I commend your dedication to this story, and also suggest you put it down until after you are either safely out of the deadly situation, or dead. If you are dead, then I really have no arguments towards you reading this. I only hope that whatever afterlife awaits us all is not boring enough that you must resort to reading such earthly trash as this for entertainment. While I'm on the subject of confusion and death, I should mention Shigaraki and Kurogiri, who are looking at Midoriya's corpse. "He's shimmery, Kurogiri. Why the fuck is he shimmery?" Kurogiri shrugged, although it was hard to tell what with him being incorporeal and all. "What's wrong with this place? All Might's wearing a cowboy hat. That kid keeps exploding, and this kid is covered in fucking glitter." "It seems to be getting faster." Midoriya's blood, which was at this point in the middle stage of his resetting, was flowing back towards Midoriya's body at an ever-increasing speed, shimmering gold the whole way. "I can't do this," Shigaraki muttered. "Nomu, stand down! We're out of here!" The Nomu complied. "Open a portal, Kurogiri." He was too late, and the time it had taken for the Nomu to return to its master, made far more difficult by Bakugo's refusal to just let it go without winning the fight, Midoriya had reached the last little bit of his regeneration. "I'm back!" Shigaraki, for the second time, shrieked. "About time!" Bakugo yelled. "Well, I'm sorry! Just had to rebuild half my skeletal structure and a brain in 5 minutes. Why are you alive?" "Well, that's awfully rude," said Midoriya. "Fine, if you won't die, then maybe he will." And with that, Shigaraki bolted to Bakugo, hand outstretched. Midoriya panicked. Bang! Shigaraki fell to the ground, clutching his hand. That's mostly, keyboard spam. You little shit! I'ma kill you! That's pretty hard. It mostly just looks like a keyboard spam. Basically, he's saying he's gonna kill him. Oops! Midoriya lowered his gun. I kind of forgot that I wasn't supposed to shoot other people. I technically only have a license to shoot myself. Shigaraki stumbled to his feet and looked at Midoriya with fear. You shot me! You're fucking insane! You're one to talk, Mr. Murder Maniac, Bakugo growled, and I definitely didn't need your help, Izu. Obviously, Midoriya nodded. I'll get you next time, Shigaraki hissed as he backed up through the portal with the Nomu still clutching his hand. We still have our Nomu. You're dead meat, kid. This isn't over. And then he was gone. Actually, Kenzaki said as she and a cameraman stepped out from behind the fountain they had been watching from, I'd say that it is. That's a wrap, everyone. Beautiful work. Bakugo groaned. Can this day get any weirder? Notes. Kichi Kanzaki is a reporter OC I mentioned for about 5 paragraphs in Chapter 820 8. I don't expect any of you to remember her. I just named a reporter character for a few ideas I had. Anyways, I swear it'll make more sense in the next chapter. And that is the last of chapter 15. Next time will be chapter 16. But also, I've been recording that fic that I said I was gonna post like a bunch of episodes for it in December, because I was gonna pre-record it for December, and then I never got around to pre-recording. Yeah, those are gonna come out. Yeah, you guys are gonna have fun with that. I hope you enjoyed. Do all that good stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!